proclamation and hope Pastor Traxel runs in the door and meets us at the right time. Oh, great, I didn't see you, sorry. Oh, and a uniform, you just blended in. Okay, thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'd please remain standing for the words of encouragement, please.
Every time.
As Pastor Traxel from Grace Apostolic Church joins us.
Thank you. Let's all bow our heads. Lord, we're so thankful today for this great day that you've given to us. This is the day that you've made. We'll rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, we look to you for all that our hopes and dreams. We look to you for our wisdom and guidance. I pray you touch our mayor, council members. Lord, we're so thankful for the men in blue that are here receiving awards and our firefighters and all of our civil servants. We pray a blessing upon them and upon their families. We thank you for their courage to protect us every day. Lord, we ask that you give us unity in not only in this room, but in our city. I pray you bless every family, every husband, every wife, every child. Lord, I pray you bless our schools and those things that make our city great. I pray, Lord, that we would always look to you for everything that we have and realize we have not done this by ourselves. Lord, Clawson's a very unique and special place, and I pray a blessing upon it. Help us to turn to you in all that we do. We give you the praise and glory for all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Councilmember Shepard. Here. That's a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. First thing we need to do is approve our agenda. I believe there were a couple of amendments for the agenda. If you'd like to call those out, please.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I request that the agenda include the following: a resolution of support for a grant application by the City of Claussen to the United States House of Representatives Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies for a water main addition and upgrade with road improvements at North Washington and Broadacre to be brought on as new business item 10A, and then also add number 16, closed session to discuss matters with our attorney regarding the case of George Georges versus City of Claussen.
Thank you. Someone like to support? Well, let's take that. Yeah.
I was going to say so move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepard.
yes.
Passes.
Great.
Amended.
Next thing on the agenda would be public comment for items on the agenda. If you would like to speak for any item that is on our agenda tonight, please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Try it without the mask today, see if I can catch my breath. So I'm again addressing the word vomit included in the minutes and packet from the last council meeting. I already spoke at the special council meeting, noting that exclaiming fact is not a magic elixir that makes the subsequent falsehoods true, and I chastised Councilmember Shepard for the chicanery of doubling down on the ill-conceived motions at the last meeting. The only healing way forward from the situation the city is mired in with the shortfall of counsel and the lawsuit against the city by plaintiff Georges is for him to walk away and let the city move forward. I heard a lot of people confused why 2 council members work to continue the rift in the city, and I have explained it to them, and I have said it before, but it bears repeating. Never attribute malice to that which can be explained by arrogance, stubbornness, and outright disregard for the public interest, but also don't discount malice. Repeating myself once more, the city of Claussen deserves better than what has been subjected to by Councilmember Sampson and Shepard and Plaintiff Georges.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Ms. Mayor, Council. Hi, my name is Bobby Lawrence, and I'm Chief of Staff for State Senator Marshall Bullock. And currently, he's the State Senator for District 4. And we just want to come and introduce ourselves and let you all know that we will have the opportunity of representing District 8. But we're here, we want to learn about the community, and also we want to earn you all support. But just want to let you know that we're here and that we care. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, I'm going to pretend I'm a resident for a minute, and I'm going to look around this room and say how proud I am of this community and all of these people who take personal risk every day and make a commitment to serve our community. And I would just like to applaud you because you won't be here at the end of the meeting for us to do that. So thank you to all of you who are here listening. Now I'm going to be the mayor again and say the next item on the agenda would be consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Minutes of the special city council meeting held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. Minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. And the list of bills as presented in the amount of $604,052.11.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
We got Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we will pay our bills, and we approved our minutes, and now we move on to presentations and proclamations. First item on the agenda for this is consideration of a proclamation recognizing April 29th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the city of Claussen. And, sorry. Does that have, I don't see it. I didn't pull it out.
Well, actually, we just amended, it should be the resolution grant application, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I thought we put that at 10.
No, that's
10A?
No, that's 10A, where I'm
That's new business.
presentation.
Yeah, right, 10A.
Yeah, it's
So
new
someone.
Oh, I'm
have-
sorry, your new business, you're.
Someone have the proclamation real quick. That one? Or I'll find it. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. I didn't pull them out because they're usually sitting here. Pull. How about this? I'll move to the next one, which is presentation of the 2021 Police Department Awards, and I will find this proclamation and we'll move back. We'll move backwards to the Arbor Day. So Chief Cervelo, would you like to come and share some good news with us?
You will have a few minutes to look for that.
Thank you.
This is not a short presentation. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. The reason we have awards recognition program is to establish a standard to provide tangible recognition for exemplary service by departmental personnel, as well as to serve as a means of reinforcing the type of performance that enhances the image of the Claussen Police Department, the law enforcement profession, and the community. Over the year, officers are encouraged to recognize each other at the time of the incident, but also to submit a request for an award if it reaches a certain level. Tonight, I am proud to announce several awards to our officers submitted by their peers for the work they do above and beyond their normal call of duty. We will start with the 2021 Police Officer of the Year, Jason Rands. Officer Rands serves as a field training officer, crash investigator on a multi-jurisdictional investigation team, evidence tech, assistant property room manager, and he also handles the auto impounds and the auctions sales of our vehicles with A&M. He goes above and beyond what a typical patrol officer does. He loves those extra tasks. So Officer Rands is awarded by his peers. There was submission, then it goes to the review board and acceptance. Officer Rands is being awarded this for providing outstanding police services to the city of Claussen with the highest order of integrity and dependability, and in a manner that exemplifies the goals set by this department. Thank you to Officer Rands for 19 years of service and continues to work hard and diligent every day for us.
Great job.
Again, this was voted by peers.
You want to step forward and get a picture, shaking hands, present?
Get your fingers up. For a photo bomb.
Great job. Appreciate it.
The next award is a commendation to Officer Darrell Adams. Unfortunately, he could not make it here tonight because of a prior family commitment, but I will read it because I think it's worth everybody hearing. On July 31st, 2021, Officer Adams was dispatched along with other officers to a family trouble call involving a 16-year-old who was arguing with his father. The juvenile was angry upon the officer's arrival and was not willing to calm down. Officer Adams took time, spoke with the juvenile, getting him to calm down to the point where he was willing to talk things out. The juvenile and his father were then brought together, and a productive conversation took place, and they were able to resolve their differences. A great rapport was developed with this young man, and this department has not had any further calls involving his family since this interaction in July. The father and son both thanked Officer Adams for his time and advice, and that young man continues to be a productive individual in this community. So,
Great story.
another commendation goes to Sergeant Scott Varrick. This commendation honors Sergeant Scott Varrick, who continues to be a leader in the enforcement of drunk and drugged drivers. Sergeant Varrick is trained as a drug recognition expert and has been called to testify in court based on that training. During a year of COVID and restaurants and bars being closed due to the state requirements, Sergeant Varrick stayed vigilant in his efforts and made 20 arrests for drugged and drunk driving throughout the year. Sergeant Varrick also takes time to work with other officers and trains new officers in this enforcement effort, explaining the importance of such actions. Once again, Scott Varrick has earned the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Award for 2021 for the City of Claussen Police Department. We thank Sergeant Varrick for his continued commitment to OWI enforcement and the safety of our residents. And I think that is 4 years in a row, or 5? For the Matt Award. But they're adding up.
Well, thank you.
This is a Community Service Award. I need to call up Sergeant Varrick, Sergeant Baus, Officer Wilds, Officer Tracy, Officer Barnett, Firefighters O'Connell and Winter.
Gang's all here.
Come on up here so you can all fit.
Hey, your parents are there. Everyone you see in front of you today took part in the Special Olympics torch run fundraising for the Claussen Police Department. Obviously, the Claussen Fire Department assisted as well. Sergeant Varrick started this effort to organize and support Special Olympics. These employees participated in 3 events throughout the year, raising over $6,000. What place were we in the state? Third in the
nice.
state of Michigan. So this group of individuals did an extreme job on that. On a 22-degree day in February, Sergeant Varrick, Officer Tracy, and firefighters O'Connell, who almost lost a toe, and Winters participated in the polar plunge, jumping into the Clinton River near the Yates Cider Mill. So they had to walk through snow to get to the river, jump in, and then make their way back through the snow. In August, Officer Barnett, who was fairly new to our department at the time, organized a bottle and can drive at the police department, raising over $2,000 for this. And finally, in September, Sergeants Varrick and Sergeant Baus, Officer Wilds, Officer Tracy, and Officer Barnett participated in a torch run, taking the torch from Birmingham at 14 and Crooks, down 14 Mile, up Livernois, and then handing the torch off to the Troy Police Department to continue the torch run through the state of Michigan. So these officers dedicate time and effort to participate in this, and again, raised over $6,000, putting this department third in the state of Michigan for fundraising. So. I wish we had the pictures from the polar plunge. I was there, Sergeant Boss was, we watched them jump in. It was cold. But I give them a lot of credit for doing what they did. And we group up. Probably over that way. Remember in kindergarten? One row, two rows.
Can I move this?
Thank you, Kate. Let's see. Another commendation, Sergeant Horn, Fire Chief Engel, and I guess David O'Connell, representative of Claussen Goodfellows. If you could come forward, please. On March 11th of last year, Claussen officers were dispatched to the Super 8 Hotel on West Maple on the welfare check of a family living in their car for several days. Officers made contact with that family, who also had a 3-year-old child. All were found to be healthy, but they were obviously having financial difficulty. Their car needed some work and wouldn't move, so they were actually living in it. Claussen officers paid the first night room for the family at the motel. Claussen Goodfellows then picked up the tab for a few more nights, while Chief Engel had the vehicle towed to his business. Everyone knows, a little plug for Bayless Tire. And he worked on that car on his own, did not charge that family a dime, got it in working condition. We don't know what happened to the family at the time, but we know for a few nights they were safe. They got their vehicle back, and then they could figure out how they were going to work on the rest of their life. But this is a true example of community dedication above and beyond normal expectations. And then after, Dave, do you want to give a quick plug after on Goodfellows so everyone has an idea of what it is? Real quick.
That's a beautiful story, actually.
We just give a brief.
Good evening. I'm Dave O'Connell, president of the Clawson Goodfellows. The Goodfellows is a nonprofit organization with members of the police department and the fire department. And we raise money throughout the year. We do paper sales, car washes, and we sell T-shirts and stuff like that. So we raise money and help families so kids don't go without a Christmas. And we help them, families that reach out, during the year if they need help. We buy them groceries, and we do what we can in the short term for them. Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
That's your organization blocking the intersections when it's cold, selling newspapers, that everyone holds up their newspaper or turns on Broadacre to avoid the sale. Two things happen in that situation. Next, I would like to bring up Sergeant David Scott for a life-saving award. Sergeant Scott, along with Officer Calamita, who has left us, went to another department, I will mail his certificate to him. They were dispatched to a residence in September of 2021 on the report of an unresponsive male. Officers arrived, found the subject on the couch. No pulse could be located, and the subject was not breathing. The subject was moved to the floor so CPR could be performed. Officers performed several cycles of CPR while the medics were arriving. The subject was moved to the stretcher, and Sergeant Scott drove the ambulance so the medics could continue with life-saving measures. The subject started to be responsive upon arrival at the hospital and was later released 5 days later to continue his recovery and therapy at home. These actions, quick actions by these officers, response time, initiating CPR, and getting the situation under control, saved this Claussen resident's life.
Thank you, sir. Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, I call up Officer Dar, who is not able to make it tonight, and Officer Tracy for a Merit Service Award. This award is issued to officers who have outstanding performance of duty under unusual or difficult conditions. The action need not involve exposure to physical danger, but must involve the protection of life or property and involve unusual thoroughness, conscientiousness, determination, and initiative. On January 31st of last year, Officer Dar and Tracy were dispatched to Nakota Street on an assault that had just occurred. Officers located the suspect quickly, who was making random statements and admitted to drug use. He was taken into custody for the assault. While still on scene, the suspect made statements about murdering someone, causing the officers to do additional follow-up down the street at the suspect's home. Inside, they located a deceased male and evidence of a homicide. These officers went above and beyond with that initial call of an investigation of an assault, and their intuition that something was not right revealed a much more tragic crime that had been committed. They are deserving of this award for going above and beyond and using their training and their skills, which initiated that follow-up and a conclusion. Unfortunately, a very tragic crime had occurred.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys got a hug.
Did you find the proclamation you were looking for yet?
I did.
Okay.
Are you stalling
I'm
for
getting
me?
there.
Oh,
I'm getting
okay.
there.
Take
I just
your
wanted to
time.
make sure.
We don't often get to do really great things. This is a great thing.
Next, I would like to call up Officer Reinhardt. Officer Rands, please. These officers are receiving the Distinguished Service Medal. Officer Reinhardt and Officer Rands, this award is issued to you for exceptional meritorious conduct involving exemplary courage, great risk, and danger to the officer's personal safety. On March 21st, Officer Reinhardt Rands, along with several other officers from Troy PD, Royal Oak, Oakland County Sheriff's Department, SWAT, and I did reach out after this incident to all of their command officers and issued certificates of thanks to every department and every officer that was involved in this as well. Our officers were dispatched to home on 14 Mile of a shooting involving a 15-year-old victim. The officers entered the home expecting an armed confrontation in an attempt to save the life of that victim. They did so without regard for their own safety. Unfortunately, the victim did not survive. These officers showed exceptional conduct involving courage, great risk, and danger to their own personal safety, putting the community first, and they are well deserving of this Service Medal Award.
So you give him a standing ovation.
Last, I would like to call up our police chaplain, Stephen Traxel, please. It is a surprise. It just wasn't for the words of inspiration, my man. Everyone knows our police chaplain well. He does participate words of inspiration quite often here at the council meetings. So he serves as our chaplain in time of need. Maybe an officer needs advice. Maybe citizens need advice. He's there for us. Obviously, I just talked about a couple cases that were really rough. And throughout the year, last year, our department had to handle some serious and uncomfortable situations dealing with victims and their families. These families may have been involved in a serious crime, an overdose, mental health call, or even a death, just to name a few of the reasons we lean on our chaplain. Our officers lean on him to assist them and the families during these difficult times. Last year, we had a few cases in which the intervention of our chaplain played a major role in assisting the families with some difficult times and decisions. I couldn't imagine being in the situation those families were, and the responding officers and our chaplain played a huge role in making them comfortable and getting them some advice and getting some much-needed help. I would like to recognize our chaplain for his dedication to this department, to the Claussen community, given his time and energy when he is called upon by our officers. And you know when we're calling the chaplain, it's not 3 p.m. on a Monday afternoon, and he's quick to respond for us, whether it be day shift, afternoons, or midnight shift. And he's well deserving of this recognition for what he does for our department. So. I'm done.
No, you're not. Stay right there, please.
No.
We have, Chief Cervelo provided us all with some news this week, which I'll allow come out of his mouth and not mine. Chief Cervelo, would you like to share your news with those at home who perhaps are unaware?
I'm not really good with public speaking, Madam Mayor.
I know, I've noticed that. You get the award for not really good at public speaking, very good at adding levity to a situation, and an occasional eye roll. But I forgot the plaque to give to you, but I have a different one for you. So if you want to share your news, you can, but we have a proclamation for recognizing the retirement of Police Chief Scott Cervelo. Whereas in August of 1993, an eager young man joined the Claussen Police Department to serve and protect the Claussen community. During his 29-year career, Chief Scott Cervelo became well-respected and well-loved by fellow law enforcement officers, civilian co-workers, City Hall staff, and most importantly, the community. And whereas during Chief Cervelo's tenure with the city, he served admirably in many roles, starting as patrol officer, and then sergeant, lieutenant, detective lieutenant, police chief, and his most favored role, interim city manager. And whereas Chief Cervelo also served on the Major Crimes Assistance Team as an investigator and coordinator, and has been recognized with numerous commendations by the multi-jurisdictional team that investigates homicides and other serious crimes. And whereas Chief Cervelo has earned many accolades and awards, including Officer of the Year, 1995, Oakland County Prosecutor's Office Investigative Award, 2016, Lifesaver Award, 1995, 96, and 97, Department Community Service Award, as well as numerous other departmental commendations. And whereas Chief Cervelo embodied the term community policing. He coached youth sports, volunteers on the Claussen Athletic Boosters Club, attends every community event he can, and values the relationships he has with everyone he crossed paths with. And whereas Chief Cervelo acquired the sense of community service from his father, Salvatore Cervelo, who served the City of Marquette Police Department for years, with 6 of them as chief, the City of Claussen is forever grateful to Scott's parents who instilled qualities into his son that molded him into the passionate, ethical, and dedicated public servant he became. And whereas it is with a heavy heart that we receive the news of Scott's retirement, the city of Claussen will be hard-pressed to replace his experience, professionalism, even temperament, generosity, and smile. Now therefore be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire city of Claussen, I do hereby express our sincerest appreciation and gratitude to Chief Scott Cervelo for his 29 years of service to the Claussen community, and we wish he and his family all the best in a very well-deserved retirement. Would you like us to take a photo of your family?
Please, yeah, that'd be great.
I'm probably the worst photographer there is, so you probably want someone else to do it. I know you have a camera, so I'm guessing it's fast to you.
And thank you
I'm
for
not
that,
good at it.
Madam Mayor and Council. I mean, obviously, it hits home right. It's been my family for 29 years, so thank you for all those kind words. I don't regret a minute of it, so. I've met a lot of great people. I've had a lot of great times. Been through the good and the bad with everybody behind me, right? This department will continue to prosper and grow. I'm proud of everybody behind me for what they do every day, right? It takes a certain person to want to step up to be in the public eye now, whether it be police, fire, paramedic, and the departments, including DPW in this community as well, step up every day for this community. And I applaud everybody that comes to work every day for the city of Claussen. And I've been fortunate to be a part of that for nearly 29 years. And again, I don't regret 1 second of it. And I thank everybody for their time.
And council? One second, get an angle. Okay, Mayor and Scott, with both of your permission, can the rest of the force get up there and join family in council?
Bring them in, that's family as well.
Amen. Gentlemen, ladies?
There's a second tier.
Yeah, please use it.
Claussen Fire, please join.
I think if you would please file in the back too, that would be helpful. I'm running out of room.
We're going to take the top rope. Yeah, we'll work it out. Thank you, but no thank you.
Where's Nick?
I think there's a rule that says I can't do both.
Nick. Been on the screen.
By the way, he really wants to be a fireman anyway.
Yes, smile. I'm smiling.
Sorry, those and everyone. Those and everyone. They don't teach us that.
CARs was better. We didn't stand on the track.
Nick, why don't you get in here because we know that you and Sky have a special relationship, so.
Musical camera. Thank you. How did you do this?
You, it's all you.
You got in on the end.
That's all I need now. Lean back.
12 pictures of his finger.
Oh, there we go. They're all of my fingers. All of them. Yeah, okay. Thank
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Want to read the Arbor Day Proclamation?
Yeah, sure.
You love trees. I feel like it's fitting.
I'll be spending a couple hours over there, so.
Where are we? Oh, I want to know if there's cake. What? Scott usually plan events with cake.
He wasn't planning this one, remember?
Oh, well, no, he was planning that part. That's a
Yeah,
big part.
that's true. Very true.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We understand you probably won't stick around. I don't understand why, but you're welcome to if you'd like. And we're going to go ahead and keep moving. So thank you to everyone. All very well-deserved awards. We appreciate all of your service. So we are going to go backwards and go back to that consideration of proclamation of recognizing April 29th, 22 as Arbor Day in the city of Claussen. As I feel it would be extremely fitting, I've passed this off to Council Member Shepherd to read.
Really? Surprised.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'll read off the City of Claussen proclamation recognizing April 29th as Arbor Day in Claussen. Whereas the first Arbor Day was celebrated in Nebraska on April 10th, 1872, J. Sterling Morton, a pioneer and journalist, championed the idea of a tree planting holiday in the Nebraska Territory, and Arbor Day was named a legal holiday there in 1885. And whereas J. Sterling Morton's love for trees came from his life in Michigan, he lived in Detroit, attended public school in Monroe, and graduated from both Albion College and the University of Michigan. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas each year the governor and Michigan legislature proclaim the last week in April as the Arbor Week and Arbor Day as the last Friday of that week. And whereas Claussen's own sustainability committee, Claussen Naturally, will be hosting an Arbor Day event on Saturday, April 30th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. with free tree seedlings, a scavenger hunt, and various family activities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Claussen proclaim last week in April as the Arbor Week and April 29th as Arbor Day in the city of Claussen.
Very well done. So the next thing we would have on the agenda would be public hearings, which we have none this evening. Great English, thank you. And the next thing we're going to move to is new business. So we were moving something regarding the roads to 10A, and I did not write down what the actual topic was, so I'm going to allow Mr. Raker to tell us.
Okay, so this would be agenda item 10A. It's a resolution of support for a grant application by the City of Clawson to the United States House of Representatives Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies for a water main addition and upgrade with road improvements at North Washington and Broadacre.
Great.
So moved.
So the proclamation, this letter of support says, whereas the City of Claussen is encouraging the support and funding of this project to upgrade and improve water main access and road improvements, and whereas the proposed project is a direct result of the City of Claussen coordinating a capital improvement plan as is required by the State of Michigan Planning Enabling Act 33 of 2008, vetted through its Citizen Volunteer Planning Commission, and will ultimately to be approved by the City Council. And whereas the project scope includes the installation of approximately 373 feet of 8-inch water main on North Washington from West 14 Mile Road to Broadacre, where there is currently not a water main. Additionally, 737 feet of current 6-inch water main will be replaced with 8-inch water main on Broadacre from North Washington to North Main. And whereas these water main additions and upgrades will enhance the intergovernmental cooperation between the City of Claussen and Claussen Public Schools, as this location is directly next to the main campus for Claussen Schools. And whereas Claussen Public Schools participates as a school of choice and services over 1,000 students from Claussen and surrounding communities, and whereas the students of Claussen Public Schools, the residents, and businesses of Claussen will benefit from the additional and upgraded water main, thus further ensuring access to reliable water and increased fire suppression capacity. And whereas the City Council of Claussen is committed to working with federal, state, county, and neighboring municipalities' offices in an effort to consciously stretch the citizens' limited and precious tax dollars. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor and with the support of the City Council, we hereby approve this resolution in support of the $1,570,000 grant proposal to the Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies for the water main addition and upgrade with road improvements at North Washington and Broadacre. Mr. Ray, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead. Support?
Good, got it.
Okay, we can, you sent us a note that said, we've applied for this, it's not a given.
Correct.
Right, but we've applied for it and we're hoping to.
We literally received notification to take the next step and to provide this resolution and seek other letters of support from other stakeholders, to include elected officials, at about 3:30 this afternoon. And so Nick and I put this together with the help of some other staff members, and we're feeling fairly confident moving forward. Nick has established a very good rapport with the Congresswoman's office. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for moving quickly and getting this to us this evening for some positive information. We could definitely use the help with those projects, and we need to vote on this. Is that right?
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes. The next item on our agenda would be consideration to provide clarification of the ballot language for the Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 special city election millage proposal. So I think I'm going to just pass it off to you, Mr. Nushai. There was a confusion over the dates that were printed, and you provided us with a letter explaining your determination of whether or not that's problematic for us. So rather than me rambling, I would like you just to go ahead and give us a brief synopsis of that, or.
I think it's more Joe.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we worked this through with Bound Counsel, Mr. McGow, and then just ran it past Rennis.
Okay.
So if I can, for clarification here, please recall your awareness of the inconsistency of the official ballot for the Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 special election millage proposal. The ballot language states for a period of 8 years from 2022 through 2030. The way the ballot was written did not take into consideration that we have to count each year respectively rather than conduct simple public math. Because simple public math was used, 2022 plus 8 years equals 2030. The end year is incorrect in financial terms. What should have occurred was the inclusion of 2022 as the first year of the 8 years, thus ending in 2029. We did consult with our bond attorneys at Miller Canfield, who shared that this is not particularly unique to Claussen and that other communities have dealt with similar situations in the past. Although there is an error in the end year on the ballot, it does not invalidate the ballot, and it does not change the fact that the election is for a millage of only 8 years, as approved by the City Council, which will actually end in 2029. In consultation with our bond attorneys and city attorney, it was suggested that council consider some action to clarify the end date of 2029 to both current and future voters, city council members, and city administrators. The following motion is respectfully recommended.
Okay, so the reason I was passing to you, because you did provide us an opinion that stated, I'll have you state that because I'd rather them come from you.
I'm privy, obviously, to the communications that Mr. Raker had with bond counsel at Miller Canfield. I agree with their statement. I think this is appropriate that we have a clarification, obviously, for purposes of our administration, our council, and all actions that we're going to continue forward. So I would join in his request that council move forward with this motion.
Okay, and could you very clearly state that although there is a movement that's stating that we did something that's very wrong and will affect this, there is nothing that will affect this. We are fine moving forward with the language as stated, even though it is a little bit off for a valid reason, right?
I leave them to their opinions, obviously, for purposes of this council. I recommend that we move forward in this specific fashion.
Is there going to be
This
a
motion.
problem that we didn't have a bond commission meeting that was supposed to be held?
I'm sorry?
Is there going to be a problem that we didn't hold a bond commission meeting? It's supposed to be the mayor.
Bond commission, sir?
Yeah, they're supposed, in the state law, it says the mayor and city clerk and one other selected person to approve the language.
The language was approved by this body and then submitted to,
Like the next day.
yes, that's what required, this body required to approve the language, if I'm not mistaken. What you're referencing, I believe, is the approval, which we held a meeting. Our city attorney, our city clerk, and I met last week to approve the workers for the election, which is required. There were minutes. We actually had a real, very, very, very quick meeting. Great meeting, so super quick, and efficient because we didn't have to do anything. We did that. Everything was done in the appropriate fashion, may I say?
Right.
Thank you. So is that what you're referencing? Because we are not negligent in any process where it comes to the election or our responsibilities for this millage. Is that true?
This is largely to counter any misinterpretation of the public math. And so it's to provide clarity as far as what the end date was concerned for not just these voters, this council, this administration, but 8 years in the future, those people who will be here as well. So there's no misconstruing that, oh, maybe they meant 2029, or meant 2030. We don't. We mean 2029,
Right.
period.
Yeah, I understood that. I think it's pretty easy to understand. Councilmember Sampson was referencing something else that he thought was attached to this, but I think we can state clearly that I can't think for you, but I'm assuming what you're referencing is what I just described, which has nothing really to do with this, unless there's something else, Councilmember Sampson, that you were referencing.
Smooth.
I just want to make sure you don't have any questions, because you threw something out there, and it makes it seem like we were negligent in a process, and we weren't. So if you have other questions, let's address it now.
That's the one question I had.
Okay, wonderful, let's vote.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
thank you. So we have now,
We never had a motion in a second.
didn't
I was
we?
just going to ask you.
Yeah, that part was skipped over.
Let's go backwards and say we'll make a motion.
Let's start over again.
Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve the language as just submitted to clarify the issues at hand.
Stated in the agenda, Madam Mayor.
As in the agenda, right?
Would someone like to second that?
Support.
Thank you. Now may we have roll call?
In the same order, it'd be Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes?
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Wonderful.
thank
Thank you for approving that. And if anyone has any questions, just refer to the packet. The wording is in there. It's very simple to understand. If you have any further questions, contact our city manager. He would be happy to explain it for you. Next item on the agenda is consideration of approving the road closure of South Main Street between 14 Mile Road and Madison Avenue for the 15th Annual Cinema in the Street on July 9th. I see our DDA director here. Would you like to speak on this at all, Joan? This is an annual event, and they have to ask for the roads to be closed. They don't need any permits because they are a government entity.
So, yes, thank you. We need to close the road to have a cinema. 15 years running, would have been 16, but COVID took away 1 year, so we don't have a movie yet, and I'll take any suggestions, not Disney, please. So that's where we are, and
Mayor.
we're looking forward to it.
Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the road closure of South Main Street between 14 and Madison for the 15th Annual Cinema in the Street as presented.
Support.
Terrific, thank you. May I take about 2 seconds just to let you know some other events coming up? I know you have a long agenda, this will be very short. May 21st is the Open Air Sidewalk Fair. Then the movie is July 9th. August 27th is the Claussen Fest. September 10th, another open air music fair. And then, of course, we have our events in October for Halloween. And I do want to just let everyone know, another little side note here, there will be no hanging baskets this year. So we are working on a plan for next year so that they actually flourish. And we're just trying to be very fiscally responsible and make sure that our baskets look like they should and don't start to die halfway through the year, which is very sad for everyone to see. So we're coming up with an actual plan for how long it takes to water, what kind of hours are required, how many days, and get a little bit and determine how that's going to be handled so that we can have beautiful flower baskets. So just wanted to get that out there because you won't be seeing them next month. So we're working on some other ways to get some other color on the streetscape, maybe some different banners, some other things that we can do that don't need to be watered. So that's that. And I'm sure, and Mr. Shepherd's on our landscape committee, if he has anything to add.
No, I
We're
like
pretty
the
well
timing
covered.
of the meeting before, but I'll see if I can make the next
The next
couple.
one.
So,
Okay.
thank you. But no, I think that was the right decision. I think just making sure that we have a plan in place that can help promote the viability of the planters rather than running the risk of having them die and having the negative impact that may
Yeah.
or may not impact.
Yeah, if it doesn't have a positive impact, we need to step back and new plan. So that's what we're doing
Can
right now.
businesses put up their own planter and water it?
If you want to put a planter outside, you are more than welcome, just not on the lamppost, please. But you can set all kinds of stuff on the sidewalk. We'd love to
it's
see
the
more
lamppost.
color. Yep, okay, thank you very much.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Joan.
thanks, John.
I don't even know,
Now we roll call vote.
yeah, I was going to say, we made the motion. Time to vote.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Road's closed.
road is closed. No hanging baskets.
No baskets.
This year. Well, a study is done to figure out how to do it better next year, wise, right? Next thing on the agenda will be consideration of approving a contract consideration of approving the Charter Commission recommendation of approving the contract between the City of Claussen and Halfeli, Starren, and Christ to advise the Charter Commission for the duration of the commission's tenure. As you know, the Charter Commission has been productive in their scheduling and self-organization. They're actually doing an exceptional job of meeting with very little direction, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out they're going to do what they're ultimately going to do, and establishing the tools that they need to do it. And one of the process was trying to determine how they were going to obtain legal counsel. The Charter Commission solicited an RFP for their necessary legal services in February and conducted interviews with 5 respondents at their March 22nd, 2022 meeting. The Charter Commission does not have the authority to enter into a contract, as this is the sole discretion of the City Council. The Charter Commission is recommending that the City Council contract with Hafeli, Sterin, and Christ to be the legal counsel to the Charter Commission at the rate of $150 an hour as needed for the duration of the commission's tenure.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, so we have members from the Charter Commission here this evening. Would either of you like to speak? And also Mr. Christ is here, right?
Mr. Staring.
I knew I'd get it wrong.
1 and 3.
I remember your face, though. But would any of you like to speak to this or to the process or anything? I mean, you're welcome to come up, should you choose.
I'll say something, Madam Mayor. I've known John Staring, and obviously I've dealt with Mr. Christ and Mrs. Christ for a long time. They're outstanding members of the legal profession. They're true professionals. They're a great choice by the Charter Commission, and I think they're going to do very well. This is exactly what this is designed for, to get attorneys such as John Staring. So I think Council, I would hope Council would approve their request, Charter Commission's request.
May I just introduce myself real quick? I am John Staring, one of the founding members of Hafeli, Staring, and Christ. I appreciate the kind comments. Wanted to introduce myself to council and the millions out there in TV land watching this production. And just pending your approval, of course, we are very eager and look forward to assisting the Charter Commission on their difficult but very important quest, which hopefully will result in a revised charter that on a community-wide basis we'll be able to embrace and be proud of, and will move us maybe even into the next century. We'll see. But I'm happy to answer any of your questions, but I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and City Attorney's comments are very, very kind. I hope I can live up to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Mayor? Oh, he's going to say it. You are going to come up. Good. I didn't think you were going to come up. I was going to congratulate you on your thorough job.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. We're just.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Bradley Irwin. I'm the Vice Chair of the Charter Commission. We're just 9 ordinary citizens here in Claussen. But the charter is a legal document. And so where we are entrusted with representing our neighbors here in Claussen, we wanted to find someone who could help us craft a document that is going to meet the requirements of state law here in Michigan, who could understand what a charter is supposed to do and advise us. And so we went through a very thorough process, as you know, interviewed 5 different applicants, and one of the things that really stood out to us about Hafeli, Staring, and Christ is how they, the words that we use, nerded out on city charters. And so during the interview process, they taught us a lot about city charters, how they're supposed to work. We learned a ton from them. And so we know that we're going to look forward to learning from them as a charter commission, and we look forward to the people of Claussen learning from them as well as we go through the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, then let's vote.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
I would ultimately like to say I was at that meeting for all 5. There were 5. I stayed through 4, but I did meet the last one in the
Yes.
hallway and chatted for a while. And you can be very proud of this group that was formed to address our charter. I enjoyed watching them interact with each other. They're so encouraging, and they all came from slightly different places, but were extremely respectful and brought out good things in each other. And I'm really quite interested to see how the process goes once they actually get started and do something more than figure out the process of this event, right? So we have a lot that's going to be coming up, and I want to applaud you guys for putting in the time, and thank you for doing it with dignity for us all. We really appreciate that.
And Madam Mayor, they can all watch all 7 hours of the interviews, the public, if they wish to, on YouTube. And the very productive deliberation afterwards, after you left, it was impressive.
Great. Thank you. So we'll move on now to the next item, which will be consideration of approving the additional budget projection for the deficit elimination plan in place for the motor pool.
Skipped one.
You skipped
You skipped one.
Did I miss one?
Aren't you going to do
The armored car.
What is it? Sorry, I missed, wait.
E, former D, now E.
D?
Oh, because so while I was sitting here, I drew on it to make it look like it was finished. I'm moving us along faster. You're welcome. Item D is, no, I'm still going to D. Oh, no. Yes, consideration of approving a contract between the City of Claussen and Loomis Armoured for armored car services for the pickup and delivery of daily bank deposits. That sounds fun, right? So,
Madam Mayor, I move to direct the city attorney to draft contract language and direct the city manager to sign said contract to hire Loomis Armoured for armored car services for the pickup and delivery of daily bank deposits.
I'll second that.
sounds easy. Oh, so the summary and rationale for this request, I'll give it to you in case anyone wants to know. The Claussen branch of PNC Bank will be closing in May 2022, and for safety measures, the City of Claussen will need the services of an armored car for the pickup and delivery of the daily bank deposits, as there is no longer a PNC Bank branch in Claussen. This is a new expense for the city, and it is important for the day-to-day operations. The city requested a quote from 6 companies, and 3 responded. The recommendation is Loomis Armoured, as they are the most cost-effective with the highest maximum liability. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
We have Armor.
Next, we're going to back to the consideration of approving the additional budget projection for the deficit elimination plan in place for the motor pool fund. In accordance with Act 140 of 1971, City Council approved a deficit elimination plan for the motor pool fund on March 15th, 2022. And the plan was filed with the Michigan's Department of Treasury on March 23rd, 2022. On March 28th, 2022, the State Treasurer's Office sent a letter requiring additional evidence to support our plan per Michigan numbered letter 2016-1. This additional support documentation requiring an end-of-year projection for the motor pool fund is due back to the state of Michigan by April 28th, 2022, along with a council resolution approving the additional supporting documentation. The supporting documentation will be sent to the state of Michigan prior to the April 28th, 2022 deadline, along with a council-approved resolution.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll enact Loomis. Next thing will be consideration of the introduction and first reading of an ordinance to establish maximum impervious surface coverage standards in the R1 and R2 districts within the city of Claussen. On March 22nd, the Planning Commission approved and recommended that the City Council approve an ordinance to establish maximum impervious surface coverage standards in the R1 and R2 districts within the city of Claussen. The ordinance seeks to limit the amount of surface on a residential property that can be paved over and covered by other structures. The supplemental information provided by Giffords Webster will offer greater information on the proposed ordinance. Joe Tangari is here to answer any questions. Good evening, Joe.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all again. Would you like me to give a short description of what we're doing here and kind of what brought it up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had a few inquiries recently about essentially paving entire backyards and putting large concrete moats around houses and things. And this is something that's generally discouraged by staff, but ultimately we don't have a rule for it. If someone wants to extend pavement across, their whole lot. And I think we're all aware that putting a lot of pavement on a lot
creates more water runoff from that lot because the water has to go somewhere because it's not being absorbed by the ground. So there's an increased risk of flooding on neighboring properties if you have an awful lot of impervious surface on a particular lot. So we looked at adding some standards to the zoning ordinance that would provide some limitations on the amount of impervious surface that could be placed on a lot in the R1 and R2 districts. Now, we already have a lot coverage standard that limits the amount of a lot that can be covered by buildings, but that doesn't apply to patios and driveways and things. So a couple things that we're doing. One is that we're adding definitions. We're actually defining what an impervious surface is for the purposes of the ordinance. And then we're slightly amending the definition of structure not to include pavement on the ground. And then within the single-family district standards, we've got some kind of a rationale statement. Excessive impervious surface coverage can harm the aesthetic quality of neighborhoods, increase urban heat island effects, and impair the ability of land to absorb stormwater, contributing to flooding and erosion. And in order to prevent these effects, we're going to regulate impervious surface coverage on residential lots as follows. And what we've done is we've established kind of a substandard for front yards so that we don't wind up with front yards that are fully paved. And then if you've got what is a common situation where you have a driveway on one side of the house and then the other side of the house, there's a little bit of property between the house and the property line. We don't want both sides of the house paved. We've got to have some place that's going to absorb water when it comes down. And then areas of impervious surface shall not direct water onto neighboring properties. And this is something that we can check when someone's building a new house. Obviously, we can look at the grades and make sure the water's flowing in the right direction. But if we have a situation that comes up anywhere within the city, we can look to this standard to help to mitigate problems that might be created by one lot on a neighboring lot. And then, finally, in the district standards, we added a little table for the lot coverage so that the percentage that you're allowed to cover scales with the size of the property. So when you have a larger property, you have a lower percentage that you're allowed to cover because that obviously translates to more overall impervious surface. And those percentages are when you have a lot that is the 5,500 square feet, that's the minimum lot size, or less. We have many that are less. It's 70%. And then when between 5,500 and 8,000 square feet, it's 65. And then over 8,000, it's 55. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
That's 55% covered?
Right, yes, exactly. Yep.
No, I think you've been working on it for quite some time and appreciate the amount of effort that went into it and the thought. Obviously we've got some properties that are already been grandfathered in, but that
Sure.
they've probably bypassed that. Is there what's the trigger for those that come on the market for them to reduce their impervious surface? Is there anything in there?
It'd be redevelopment, yeah, if they were actually changing something physical about the lot.
Okay.
You would look to that at that point, yeah.
Okay. No, I just, I think it goes hand in hand with what we were looking at years ago with large lot ordinance and trying to preserve that. And, it contributes to our sustainability that we've been trying to achieve and address to some capacity future impact on stormwater and flooding.
Right.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Someone want to make a motion?
You got a motion?
I moved an ordinance to amend the City of Claussen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 34, Article X or 10, Section 34-2.2, Section 34-3.1A, Section 34-3.1B, and Section 34-4.1 to establish maximum impervious surface coverage standards in the R1 and R2 districts, being introduced and entered into first reading.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson? Yes. Yes. Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
I will publish a public hearing. I believe the next meeting is May 5th, correct?
Correct.
So the public hearing will be May 5th for adoption.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
For your time today, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of approving the letter proposed by the administration be sent to the governor in response to the issue of non-payment of water services by Highland Park, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the letter on behalf of the city. As part of the Southeastern Oakland County Water Authority, SACWA, the city of Claussen purchases water from the Great Lakes Water Authority, the GLWA. The GLWA provides water services regionally to Southeast Michigan communities. When a community does not pay for their water service fees, those costs are covered by other GLWA communities, including Claussen. SACWA has encouraged the communities that are part of the authority to send a letter to the state of Michigan regarding the unpaid Highland Park water bills. A letter has been drafted by the administration and is presented to this council for approval.
So moved.
Support.
Any comments or questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Milan,
Yes?
Councilmember Sampson,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
We got a letter.
A letter will be sent. Next up is consideration of approving the proposed calendar for fiscal year 2022-23 budget workshop meetings. As you know, the results of the May 3rd, 2022 special city election for the Headley override operating millage will have a direct impact on this coming fiscal year's budget. In an effort to prepare the fiscal year 2022-23 budget, the administration is recommending scheduling 3 budget workshops. Budget Workshop 1, proposed for Tuesday, April 26, 22 at 6:30 p.m. At this budget workshop, the administration will provide a qualitative overview of various budgetary courses of action that can be pursued based on past or failed election day outcomes. Budget Workshop 2, the regular city council meeting on May 3rd, 2022 has been rescheduled for Thursday, May 5th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m., which will consist of the second city council budget workshop meeting before the council meeting starting at 7:30 p.m. Budget Workshop 3, proposed for Tuesday, May 10th, 2022 at 7 o'clock p.m. Per the city charter, at the second meeting of the council in May of each year, the council shall pass an annual appropriation resolution which shall be based on the budget submitted by the manager as approved or amended by the council. State law requires that the budget be adopted no later than June 30th.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, so any questions from anyone?
Nope.
I have a question. Well, let's do the roll call, please.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. So in our meeting on, I don't know if it was the 5th or the 12th, one of our special meetings, we discussed this millage, and we discussed actions that would, for educating the public. I was wondering if anything has transpired to reach out to the public to educate them beyond the social media, just the facts campaign.
Other than the placement of the hard copies in City Hall, I was awaiting the discussion for council in regards to the city attorney's opinion regarding campaigning versus providing information.
Education,
Yes.
right?
And I can address some of those questions. I don't know if council would like me to do it now, or I can do it with my attorney report. I planned for my attorney report, and I provided you specifically some information. It was meant to be added to the agenda. I didn't make it in there, but you do have it, and I'll address some of the specific questions that council asked last time.
Okay, let's just go ahead and vote on this, and then we'll catch up with that in a minute or two. Roll call, please. Oh, we did the
You
roll
just
call?
did.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm kind
We're all
of
set.
missing things today for some reason. It's been a day. Okay, so old unfinished business.
That's it.
We just did that, and now we're at public comments for items not on the agenda. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for items not on the agenda, please come forward. We'd be happy to hear you out. You're not giving that back, are
Good
you?
evening. No way. I'm
Won't take it.
very excited about that. Very, very much a surprise for me. Stephen Traxel, 381 Lincoln, Clawson, Michigan. Good to be here tonight. Thank you so much for allowing me to share a few moments. I do want to say I've got this on my phone. Let me just get this right now, an update. Let's see. Here we go. I wanted to announce that we are scheduling a National Day of Prayer Task Force event happening on May 5th at 7 p.m. at the gazebo by the library. And we hope that anyone that would like to join us could join us for that night. Be a great night. It's a national event, and we're so happy that we can host it in Claussen, Michigan. We've had a great success every past couple of years. It rained last year. Hopefully, it won't rain this year. We do have a gazebo, time 7 o'clock on that night. I just want to announce that. Also, someone that lives here in Claussen, love all the things that we have. Claussen, love the clean streets and those things, and they do a great job with our shoveling. Did have not a concern, but just a comment about our leaves. We do have a fall leaf pickup, which we certainly love having leaves by the curbside. It helps us out a lot, but we know that the oak trees in Claussen, the leaves fall late. So we get snow, and then the leaves still haven't fallen. So what happens? We have to bag them up. I had made a suggestion to one of the DPW gentlemen, I don't know who's in charge of it, that possibly could we get 2 weeks in the spring for curbside pickup as well. That would help us with all of our bagging and help some of the residents with their backs bending over to put all those leaves in the bags. If we could somehow have a possibility of putting it in place to where we could do a fall curbside and also a spring curbside pickup, that'd be greatly appreciated from some of us neighborhood residents that have a lot of leaves still left in our backyard. So that'd be just good for us. So thank you very much for your time.
Are you talking about street
side,
sweeping,
just
right?
just instead of all the bagged. I know we've got people bend over try to put them in the bag. So if we could have just same thing as we do in the fall, but just also give us maybe a week or two in the spring to also do roadside pickup, that'd be great for some of the residents to get those last little leaves out of our yards.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Raker, do we need to make a motion for you to take that into consideration with our DPW director?
I can bring it up to the DPW director and give you some feedback at the next meeting during my city manager report.
Okay, we don't need to do a motion to do that. You'll take that under advisement? Great, that's easy. Thank you. So, let's see. Anyone else for public comments? Okay, great. We'll move on to the city attorney's reports.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I was indicating, last time I was unable to be here, so I know the council had a few questions concerning what could council or the administration do with respect to the millage information to be provided, and there are questions, some of the questions that were brought back to me and that I reviewed based on viewing the council meeting was, what is the difference between campaigning and disseminating information? What funds can be used for to disseminate information, and what are examples of acceptable and unacceptable literature? Obviously, the first step administration already took, there was a letter that we took some time, obviously, between everybody from the city manager on down, trying to provide some information with respect to the millage to the extent that we can provide information. As I indicated in a prior opinion, information that we must provide has to be factual in nature. Specifically, it's Section 57 of the Michigan Campaign Finance Act that governs what a public body may do concerning the authorization of public funds and resources on ballot questions. And we're prohibited, the public body is prohibited, and public body's definition is one that covers obviously an entity such as Claussen. We're prohibited for participating in elections when it comes to state and local ballot questions specifically. What that means is that the body cannot contribute or make expenditures on behalf of the committees registered to support or oppose ballot questions. And that goes into some detail, obviously. We're specifically prohibited from displaying political signs, brochures, pamphlets, etc., in any governmental building or governmental property to advocate for or against. Obviously, factual information is okay. That's perfectly appropriate. And the meaning of that factual information, we dealt quite a bit, actually, when it came to this particular information that we provided. It appears sort of simple and straightforward in its face. Sometimes we get into trouble just on account of the nuance that comes into play. For example, I know specifically concerning our millage, there was a statement during that letter that we were preparing that we're exchanging back and forth, a statement of the nature of, if this doesn't pass, we'd have to go into our emergency funds, or I'm probably not doing justice to the quote, but some such quote. And if that is factual, meaning if the millage doesn't pass, then by 100%, with 100% certainty, we must go into our into our sort of back pocket and go into our general fund, into our rainy day fund, that's a factual statement. Therefore, it's okay to make that statement. But if there's even an ounce of, wiggle room within there, it takes us out of that factual determination. It becomes somewhat problematic. The prohibition is not one that, when it comes to the public body, it's not one that prohibits any of the four of you as members of this city, as citizens of the city of Claussen, from going out there on your own time, doing whatever you deem appropriate as far as and expressing your thoughts on the matter. It just, you cannot use, obviously, city funds, you cannot use city email or your offices, so to speak, in order to accomplish the task. So it doesn't apply to the expression of your views as even though you are elected officials and have responsibilities with respect to the city. It doesn't apply to production or dissemination of factual information concerning the functions of the public body, production or dissemination of debates, interviews, commentary, information. Use of public facilities as well comes into play, so long as it's rented equally to both sides of the argument, I suppose. And so that is basically the larger picture with respect to this. I think, based on the questions that I heard from the last meeting, I think that covers them. I'm happy to address any specific questions that you may have.
I would say that I understand the prohibitions. I understand the things we are not allowed to do, but if we are simply educating, which is all we would be doing, and stating actual facts, not supposed or, biased, personal, whatever, that we would have no problem because we are not contributing to a PAC, we're not contributing to anything, because a lot of the language that you presented to us was about this entity supporting an election process. And that's not the goal. I know better than that, than to say we should do a campaign to campaign for our campaign. Like, you can't do that, right? But we can educate, and that's what we should be doing. We should have information that simply states, this is what we're asking for. These are the things that are covered under these type funds. Without these type funds, these things, not specifically, because we don't know until we do a budget, right? Because depending on what monies come in, certain people are going to get slashed. And we can all guess what departments will get slashed, because they're the ones that get slashed all the time. And they may be the ones the community value the most, because people always get their services, right? You can only limit so many services because you actually need them to maintain our community. But we can cut things that people enjoy for personal reasons. I feel like this is saying, no, we can't do anything, and I don't think that's a good answer. I think that's the wrong answer. I believe there's something that has to be done, and we have to do it.
To your point, and now to the city attorney, the information that we currently have in hard copy and also available on our social media platforms, would the city be able to snail mail that to either every resident or every participant in the last election?
Yeah, I mean, I think the short answer to that is yes. I'll take a look at the letter one final time before we send it out, but absolutely. So I think, given the mayor's comment, I think other than the guesswork portion that I would have some concern about, everything else is absolutely true. And we can, this is not us spending money to advocate for a position. That's the prohibition.
Right.
This is the city providing information. So city providing factual information, absolutely no problem.
This is going to be questionable kind of expense as far as postage and printing, and to expedite this, it might be too close, actually. I mean, we can find out tomorrow and try and do a quick turn, but if that is the will of council, I would ask that council direct me through a motion and an actual vote, please.
And I think we would have to have that vote, because part of the consideration would have to be what budget you're utilizing, where it's coming from. And that's a portion of this that makes this tricky. So I think whatever motion counts, I think directing the city manager makes perfect sense. Whatever motion needs to have at the end to the extent appropriate, so that we can utilize it wisely.
So what budget does the Highlights magazine come out of that we haven't done, right? We haven't sent one. Is that right?
We'll find
Not
out. I mean,
aware.
I think we won't allow ourselves to make a mistake in this department because those are expensive mistakes. So to the extent that council's direction contains the caveat that we do the additional legwork, the administration does the additional legwork to be able to make sure that what we're doing is appropriate 100%, we'll be fine.
I mean, timing certainly is of the essence, but there are organizations that will give you bulk mail rates, and, you pick the size of the postcard, we make it a small postcard so it's not expensive, or so that it's less expensive. I mean, there's ways to do it. You guys already hold the voter lists. It's, if you have to pay the $25 for that, whatever, I might help you out, or whatever, as an individual. There's a way to do it, but I would just implore this council to not drop the ball in this. I appreciate that you have put papers in City Hall. Small percentage of people come to City Hall. I appreciate that it's on social media, another not overly significant position. Amount of people are on social media. I just would hate to not capture people who might not understand why we need this so badly, and to explain it as best we can. I would entrust that you guys can do that. I wouldn't tell you how to do it, but if you want a second set of eyes, I'm in. But I will make a motion that we direct our city manager to investigate, and then, well, actually, to send out a mailer.
And execute. I mean, you got to direct me to do it. We'll run out of time. So I would suggest it be direct the city manager to provide a hard copy, or same just the facts information that we have online and in the vestibule here via snail mail to either all the residents or all the voting. I don't know if you can pare that down or not. It'd probably have to be every mailing address, every water billing address probably would cover everything.
Yeah, I was going to say investigate measures to ensure that you have the best value for the mailings, where I was starting with that, but the rest of it is good. So I'll second the motion that he said for me. I'll say it from his mouth, and then I'll second it. Just kidding.
Good.
To investigate.
All right, to investigate. Help me with this so we don't step on any.
I just meant for the options, right? For the options of the
Right.
mailing, right? But
Right.
then to actually
Execute.
Well, but I
execute.
think,
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, actually, that, to investigate the larger question, I think is appropriate. I think that's exactly in the right direction, so I think that's how you do it, August.
Okay.
Would
Investigate
anyone
all the options.
second?
Well, second, yeah.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I think it leaves us to a lot of mistakes we can make.
You don't have confidence in these gentlemen to not make a mistake?
I have confidence that we need to see what we're going to send out before we send it out, because you're playing with everybody here.
I agree, the
That-
attorney should review it, yes.
That if we go do the wrong thing, all of us get sued, so. If you're going to send something out, I want to see what you're going to send out.
No, absolutely. And Mr. Sampson, I think that's why, the mayor's statement to investigate all our options
Yeah,
available to the
because-
city manager.
Because we just talked, and it's, we're going to tell people, things usually get cut. What's get cut? You can't say, we're going to cut this, because it takes three of us to vote on it. Any cuts, it takes three of us to keep anything. It's just not, we could cut in all these areas. We could, but which ones are? So we could never send a document out that's accurate. It would just be hypotheticals all through it. And we don't need to send a bunch of hypotheticals we could end up in court over.
I would agree, we don't need to speculate on what may be cut. I think maybe just defining the amount that would be cut. Right now, the 3.7 mils represents about $1.6 million in lost revenue, which I was told 18% of our operating budget. So I think people understand 18%. I think they also understand that renewing, voting for this millage, I think it's $260 per household.
I seen
which is about
370 or something.
$22 a month, so.
Which is considerable to some people, but it's essential for our operations, and that's what just needs to get out there, so.
I'll yield my time to Mr. Ricker. He had his hand raised.
To give some clarification, I don't think it would be wise for us to have any speculation as to what would be cut. I think should just be the continuation, the
Yes.
same information that we have on the hard copy here and on our social media platforms. And we would just do one final.
That's right.
Smooth, just to make sure. I don't think we have any issues with what's out there, period, anyway. And that is what would hit the mailboxes.
Yeah, that's, I would agree to that. So,
So Rennis, you've already reviewed what we put out and you feel it's acceptable?
I have, and as I indicated, there was, some statements that, I reviewed it, made some recommended changes to it, which were incorporated. I think it's wise for us to take one final look because of some of the statements, and I know for a fact that Joe did review it with our financial director because of some of the, at least there was one such statement, if I remember correctly, that I did address that I left at the end of my letter that I said, is this absolutely factual? Meaning, if we cut this, do we have to go into our budget? It's one of those statements that may be. So we'll review it on account of that, but that's just more so for our concern and like mental well-being than anything else. I think otherwise, what's out there is absolutely appropriate, and that's what we'll do.
Are you going to own it?
I own it.
Got it. You're going to own it too, right?
We own it all.
Okay, if there's no other conversation, let's have a vote on that, please.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
thank you. Great, it was a great decision for this community. Do you have anything else for us, Mr. Nishai?
Self-serving, because he's not here, and I think we can say this. I've known Scott Cervelo for over 17 years, I think, and it is truly the end of an era in this little city. Even when he wasn't the chief of police, he was a larger-than-life individual that cast a massive shadow in the city, and for all the right reasons.
Easy.
I know some of us can make those comments. I know, I know him in his professional capacity, as do all of you. I know him in that other professional capacity where I prosecute the cases that he brings forth and his office brings forth, his department. This little town is fortunate compared to many, many little towns out there as to the kind of police force that it has, they're truly a source of pride. And Scott Cervelo is a huge part of the reason behind the force that we have and behind the men and women that we have serving this city. And we will all miss him, of course, but I will miss him personally. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Raker, city manager's report, please.
Madam Mayor, I echo what the city attorney said as far as Scott Cervelo's service to the city of Claussen. In my brief 5 weeks here on the job, Scott was absolutely fantastic and a testament to his leadership. Look at all the uniforms that were here today, all the staff that showed up, the staff that helped write his testimonial resolution. Nick did a fantastic job, knows Scott very well, and put those personal touches together. So, it was a privilege serving with him, even though it was a very brief time.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
You have no report for us?
There's no questions at the last meeting.
Okay. City council comments, Mr. Shepherd.
Obviously, I echo the same thing has been said about Chief Cervelo. He will be missed. Those are not to follow exactly in your line of thinking, but big shoes to follow, to fill. And I appreciate the brief time I've had to interact with him. I really appreciate what he's done. Another thing I would like to say is I congratulate Mr. Schellenberger for apparently being selected as our new school superintendent. That came across on social media earlier this afternoon. And I also want to thank Mr. Wilson for his time still spending as superintendent. I think we were in good hands on that front on our schools. And I wish Mr. Schellenberger the best.
Thank you. Councilmember Sampson.
I would echo everything Mr. Shepherd said and add no more.
Sounds good. Councilmember Anderson.
No, I just want to echo what's already been said about Chief Cervelo. I think he's done an excellent job. I really have nothing more to say than that, just to echo those sentiments. I just think he's an outstanding individual. He will be missed, but I think the good news, he's left a big impression of the department, so I think they'll carry on well after his retirement.
Great, thank you. And I also appreciate Chief Cervelo. Over the past couple of years, when we've been back and forth with city managers or no city managers, when he was serving as our assistant city manager and would just fill in, or when he served in as the interim city manager, he always, what I really appreciate about him is he supports everybody. He supports the people in his department. He supports the people here at City Hall. You can't be in the community. Before I lived here, I knew of him from kids' sports, and people respect him because he is inclusive and helpful and just extremely compassionate, and his family is the same. It's not one rule for me and another for thee, and I just think there's a lot to respect about him, and I really wish him well moving forward. So, upcoming activities, I want to remind everyone that the Summer Park Market at Clawson City Park, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., at various events throughout the summer. There's going to be a craft and flea market with a farmer or two. I'm just going to give you the first couple of events so you plan ahead. May 22nd, music by Maggie McCabe and Michigan Vegetables and Herb Plants. And then June 12th, music by Oak City Roots with a Touch of Truck Day. Obstacles, inflatables, and they say the obstacle inflatables 10 to 12, bring socks. Apparently, you do not do inflatables without socks. So that's that. Jenny has activities at the library, as always. There is the chapter chat on the fourth Wednesday of the month from 4 to 4:45. On Wednesday, April 27th, The Honest Truth by Dan Gamenhart will be discussed. And then Wednesday, May 25th, When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson. This is what I'm looking forward to. The next take and make kit is paper airplanes. So I really love these, but I really want to see paper airplanes. I was thinking maybe we could just all make one and have a contest. August, I know you're in for this.
I'm in.
Right? So Jenny, let us know what it costs. We'll support you in that endeavor. And that is Saturday, April 30th at 10:30 a.m. There's preschool story time on Tuesdays from 10:30 to 11. And parent and tot time Thursdays from 10 to 10:20 and 10:30 to 10:50. And when you say parent and tot, you don't mean tater tots, you mean littles, right? Right? Okay, either one. And then the museum, this is interesting to me. They have a new exhibit, which is Welcoming in the 20s. Come see our new exhibit come see our new exhibit that, in 1920s slang, is sure to be the bee's knees. Something highly sought after. Drop your giggle water, which is an alcoholic beverage. Anybody here know what that means? And then grab your goof. Anybody know what that is? Your goof is your sweetie. And enjoy a step back to the 1920s. We are now 100 years from the start of the Roaring 20s, a time period sure to fascinate everyone. We have an exhibit that spans all kinds of genres, including fashion, politics, economics, music, and films. So their hours are Wednesdays and Saturdays 2 to 5, and admission is free. Then, I got the farmer's market, I got that. I think that's good. So I would just like to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you for the police department and our fire department and all the people that were here to support the people that provide services for us. But also, they're appreciated because they do things that are, they get to wear a uniform and do things that are tough. But I think all of our people are equally important, whether they wear uniforms or sit in offices around here. So thank you to all of our city employees and volunteers who help make the city operate well. On 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting, a 6 o'clock meeting, and the purpose of the meeting was to have a goal-setting workshop and discuss goal setting with our new city manager. And during that meeting, I did not garner any support to help me in what I was trying to do, which was to try to open communication and dialogue with our city manager, utilizing our charter as the rules and determining roles and responsibilities. I'm not going to rehash any of that right now, but I will be revisiting it in the future because I feel like during that meeting, this council did not support this council. This council did not support the city because they basically said, go ahead and do whatever. And we can't be a go ahead and do whatever because that's why we have this form of government. We have a city manager who runs the day-to-day of the city, but they're directed through this body. And I'm looking forward to open, honest, fresh, collaborative dialogue moving forward. And I just had a couple people ask me questions like why it was so important to me. It's important to me because our government's important to me. It's important to me because we were elected for a reason, not just to sit here and not just to take whatever is brought before us and say, good, what's the next thing? We're supposed to think. We're supposed to collaborate. We're supposed to do these things together. So just a little explanation about that. And thank you to those who said, good job. So next thing is Mr. McGinnis is here and has requested that we go into closed session to discuss the George Paul George's versus City of Claussen / City Council again. So if anyone would like to make a motion that we go into closed session?
I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Wait a minute. You have something with the substance that you're going to bring to us? A written opinion? Anything like that?
Do I have a written opinion?
Some kind of substance that we can actually,
Okay.
and you have to state why we're going in on the motion.
It goes in the minutes, yeah.
Yeah, you have
For
to state.
closed session for the purposes of,
Didn't I just say that?
No, you
no,
just,
you just said closed session.
I know, I said for purposes of discussing the George Paul George's case against the city of Claussen
Yeah.
and the Claussen City Council. I just said that. I was laughing at myself because I should know the whole verbiage. I should know the according to this and according to that, but I don't because it's not that important to me. The important part is that's why we're going, because it's been requested by our attorney. Shall I repeat it again
No, you got it.
for fun? Okay,
And it'll go in the minutes appropriately.
thank you. Roll
Councilmember
call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson,
yes.
Councilmember Shepherd. Yes. And we'll come back into open session before we leave.
We will. Thank you to everyone. Have a wonderful evening if you're not here when we see you again. Thank you very much. And we met with our attorney, Mr. McGinnis.
Everything on?
Except mine, sorry. Okay, we met with our attorney, Mr. McGinnis, and we are back to make a motion regarding the,
I'll make that motion. What's the specific terms?
Motion to authorize Mr. McGinnis to make and discuss a settlement offer contingent on Mr. George's not taking a seat on council.
So move.
Support.
Vote.
any, can you not? Anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to throw in before we do this vote? No, okay.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
You may proceed, sir.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Support, everyone, all at once?
We go fast. Shepherd?
Aye.
Anderson?
Yes.
Milan?
Aye, aye.
Sampson?
Aye.
One time I go fast with
Good night, everyone.
that. Thank you.